everybody, my name is Erin. Welcome back to my channel. I did not expect to be doing another book haul so soon, but it seems that I bought 7 books in February, which was not supposed to happen. But again, in the spirit of holding myself accountable, I'm here to talk about these books, and hopefully I will have read them by the end of the year. So in this stack of 7 that I have, there's only one that I've read before, and that is a book that I cherished, and it was on the Canada Reads 2019 long list, and that is All Are Wrong Todays by Elam Mustai. This is a science fiction story dealing with time travel. It's about this man who is living sort of in a utopian world where basically nothing can ever go wrong, and then one day he winds up using a time machine that was never really intended to be used, and travels to present day, where he wakes up from a coma type deal, and he is in a different version of existence. So kind of like a parallel universe, where he is now in the past but himself, and he's trying to grapple with that, and trying to prove that he is in fact from a society where everything is great all of the time. It was really fun and exciting, and it's definitely a book that I would love to reread in the future, so I went ahead and I picked up a copy. And then the rest of these books are books that I have not read yet. Quite a few of them are Canlit, as is the norm now, but they're books that I've heard a lot of people talk about, or people who I trust say very good things about them. This first one is no different. This is The Golden Mean by Annabelle Lyon, and this is a book that I've heard Rick from Another Kick at the Canlit talk about. This is sort of like a retelling of like Aristotle and Plato, I think. That's what it sounds like from the inside cover. So Aristotle is forced to postpone his dreams of succeeding Plato. And it's kind of the story of that. This will also go towards my project to read more of the Giller Prize master list, long list books. That's generally a bit of a theme in the books that I'm sort of trying to collect this year. So I'm really interested to read this. I don't think I've ever really read a retelling of Aristotle and Plato. I've taken philosophy courses, so I know like the bare bones of it, but I am interested to see how I find this one. I will leave a video about this book done by Rick, because I'm 99% sure he's done one, down below. Another book that I've heard a couple of people talk about on Twitter, maybe not necessarily this book, but definitely this author. This is Alistair MacLeod's No Great Mischief. This is a sort of, it seems like a story where the narrator is collecting stories of the people in his town. So Alexander MacDonald guides us through his family's mythic past as he recollects the heroic stories of his people. So these, it goes all the way back to his ancestors who left the Scottish Highlands in 1779. So it's quite short. I've heard a lot about Alistair MacLeod's writing, and I know that he's written quite a few things, so I thought this was a good place to start, as I found it at the used bookstore. I read Alex Olin for the first time last year when she was shortlisted for the Giller Prize, and I fell in absolute love with her writing style. Dual Citizens is a book that the farther I get from, the more I appreciate and enjoy. So I happened to pick up this book. I wonder when it was published. in 2012. It's called Inside, and it doesn't necessarily look like a book I would have ever picked up. I feel like I probably saw this book, especially because it was shortlisted or longlisted for the Giller Prize that year. But I never would have thought to pick it up because I look at covers and decide right there and then how I feel. But because I've read Alex Olin before now, when I saw this, I picked it up immediately. This is about a therapist who starts having very unconventional and unethical feelings for a patient who is suicidal. So again, it's quite short, and I know that Alex Olin is very great at capturing the very intense feelings of her characters in very succinct and beautiful ways. So I'm very, very excited to read this. Again, it will count for that the Giller Prize project that I'm doing, and like the color of this spine is just stunning. I will say the last of the Canlit and then give you two books that aren't Canlit. This is Five Wives by Joan Thomas. I thought I heard a lot of people talking about this, but I'm pretty sure they were all talking about me watching you watching without you? Me watching you without me? Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called. But anyway, I picked this up. This is sort of a historical fiction that's post World War II. So this takes place in the 50s, and it's about a group of missionaries who travel to Ecuador, and then all of the men get killed, and it's about their wives and how they kind of live without them when they end up traveling home. So this is a bit longer, but I mean the font is quite large. And I've always sort of assumed that I wouldn't like historical fiction because I get really sad when I read about World War II. And it's not necessarily what I want when I pick up historical fiction, but I'm always just too lazy to discover all of the other vast majority of historical fiction. So I'm hoping this will sort of like dip my toe in, and maybe I'll really love it, and then I can talk about it and maybe dive a bit deeper. And then I have two books that are not Canlit that I bought. The first is a new copy of a book that I've had and I've shown before on this channel. So my partner's mother gave me a really beat up version of House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielowski. And you know, every time I think about saying his name, I need to look at it because I always want to call him Dan Z or Daniel Z. Markolowski, and I don't know why. Maybe it has to do with Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc., but I always want to say it wrong. But anyway, this is a nice, beautiful copy of House of Leaves that I found at the thrift store, and I've since passed along the sort of beat up version to my partner's brother because my partner's brother and his girlfriend want to kind of read it with me. And they're just going to share the copy that they have. So hopefully I'll be getting to this soon. But yeah, I just picked up a new copy because I saw it and I thought, hey, why the heck not? And then you will have seen this in my Friday Reads video. I bought Doug's Newberg for it. And I can't talk about it because I'm judging it for the BookTube prize. So I can't talk about this until after the end of March. I'm currently reading it. I've bought it and there will be a video in the first week of April on this bad boy. So those are the books that I've bought in February. I'm probably only gonna buy a couple of books in March because obviously when I go to Toronto for Canada Reads, I'm gonna stop into a few Toronto bookstores. It's inevitable. Hopefully I don't go crazy, but I have a habit of going crazy. So we'll see what March brings. Hopefully by the end of March, I mean, I'll at least have this one off my off my unread pile, but hopefully I'll have a couple more books off my TBR to make up for the fact that I'm buying a ton of books. Let me know what you've read or what you've bought. Let me know what you bought this month if you bought anything. And I hope that you guys are having a good time. I will see you soon with another video. Bye.